We respectfully request the Sangha great virtues for the sake of this assembly and all living beings. Please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach and guide us how to end birth and death, leave suffering and attain bliss, and quickly realize non-birth. Cung thính đại đức tặng thính, vì thứ pháp hội cấp nhất thiết chúng sanh. Tịnh chiến diệu pháp luân giao đạo ngã mùng, như há liêu sanh thoát tư ly cô đạc lạc, tất chứng vô sanh. Homage to the Blessed, Noble, and Perfectly Enlightened One. Nam mô Sa Đan Thổ Su Chế Đô Ye Ở La Hơ Đi San Miao San Pu Tô Xie. Nam mô Thạc Đạc Thà Tô Già Đạt Già La Ha Đế Tam Miệu Tham Bồ Đà Tòa. The unsurpassed, profound, subtle, and wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million aeons is difficult to encounter. Now that I am able to see and hear, I will receive and maintain it. I vow to fathom and thus come one true and actual principles. Wu sheng 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 wei miao fa bai jian wan jie nan zao yu wo jin jian wen de shou ci yuan jie ru lai zhen shi yi. O Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Great Master Ching Liang, Great Master YongHua, all good monks and nuns, and all good knowing advisors of Emitofuo. Chư Phổ Bồ Sát, Ching Liang Ta Sư Sư Phụ Trang Rần, Cơ Vị Chu Cha Rần, Cơ Vị Sang Trừ Sư Emitofuo. Chư Phật Bồ Tát, kính thưa Thanh Lương Đại Sư, Thượng Tiên Hoa, quý thầy cô và quý vị thiện tri thức A Di Đà Phật. Hello everyone, today is the 10th of May 2024. We're here at Way Mountain Temple to continue discussing the prologue to the Avatamsaka Sutra. Thank you all for joining us. We're right now on slide 819. There's a question from Go Forest. Go ahead.
Hello, Master. I have two questions related to last lecture. And so you talked a lot about cause and effect as a counter to stupidity last time.
Yes.
So I want you gave example of you mentioned the ex-venerable who are left in this teaching. I'm wondering how can cause and effect help him in this case? Is that he has to learn from the consequence of his stupidity and
why does it matter anymore? Can we move on to learn and fix another problem? It's irrelevant. It only applies to him. So why should we even revisit it? It's irrelevant.
It only applies to him?
Yeah, I mean, when I allow you to ask question is for you to, for two things. Number one, do you dare talk about your own problem? Number two, are you willing to receive the instructions? Okay. Now, this, my example, which is an example among many examples, I just have too many examples. If then people start asking me about these people who are no longer here, what do we care? We wish them the best, but it's none of our business. I don't, the reason I avoid talking about these people, such people, is because I might reveal my bitterness. Okay, I might sound bitter. I'm trying my best to avoid coming across as bitter and like a sore teacher. Okay, and that's why there's no point in me talking more about it. I talk about it because it crossed my mind, not because I'm bitter or I try to pretend, that I'm normal. But the point is that it's not that relevant, is it? Give me a reason why that applies to you. It's a problem. It's not just. By the way, since you brought it up, it's not for him, but also for all my peers. I just thought about it as I was walking over here, and I walked by our statue here, the only real statue we have. Okay, in Way Mountain Temple of Earth-Store Bodhisattva, I said, wow, what a beautiful statue. But the one thing that my generation has a problem with, along with many Korean monks, Sunims over there, I notice, is that when my master Master YongHua brought the Dharma over to the United States, okay, he has a problem. He's unproven. No one understands him, okay? He hardly spoke English. And they couldn't understand Chinese, most of them. And so I noticed over the span of 50 years, okay, the one thing that I noticed that none of them have, that's why I did exactly the opposite to you. And before I tell you what they don't have, let me tell you about, I let you tell me what you have. What do you remember the last 18 years of receiving training from me? What's the one thing that keeps on coming up, week after week, month after month? The first opportunity that you have. Huh? What is the thing that comes up? Now we can talk about this. Huh? Anyone, please. This is important to me. What's the one thing that keeps on coming up over and over again? Huh? Doesn't matter. You white, you black, you yellow, you red, you Mexican, you're Taiwanese, you're Korean. It doesn't matter. The one thing that keeps on coming up. You new, you old, it doesn't matter. Woman, child, we don't discriminate. What is it? Yes, 9.
Master, from YouTube,
Yes.
Jane Clymer said, full lotus and blessings.
Full lotus and blessings. Okay, that's PG-13. I want something a little bit more controversial as a hint. What is it? Anyone? Okay, let me rephrase it for you. What is it you hate? Come on, let's have it. What bothers you? See, you're all thinking, this is why you're so stupid. I mean, I can't believe it. I'm 18 years, you still don't get it. The one thing I notice in many Korean Sunims, in my peers, in my generation, okay, my master never really let them have it. we walked away learning the Dharma. I saw it, the Sunims in Korea. I saw it here in my master's disciples, my generation. Okay? That he made us feel so special. That we're so special. We cultivate the Dharma. We propagate the Dharma. Baloney! He doesn't yell at my generation as often as yell at you. Which virtually every single week, either at someone or at least one or two people. Okay, I'm exaggerating. Twice a month, how's that? Okay? And that's exactly the problem with the person that she talked about. Even though I yell at you, okay, you have the option, you have two choices. Either you fight me and say, no, you're wrong, I disagree with you, and that's okay, and you're stupid anyway, okay? And number two, you listen and you correct your stupidity. You only have two choices. There's no in between. And what I saw, I went to Kailan, I went to my master's temples, they all feel special, which is BS. You're not special. Let me get this straight for you, okay? You are not special. Wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. Okay, occasionally I do that, but it's wrong to me when I look at my peers to walk around feeling we're special. We're not. What I've been teaching you the last 18 years is that we have a job to do, because if we didn't, no one else would do it. Everyone walks around, feels special, and they only look out for themselves, which is exactly the opposite. We don't feel special because I abuse you constantly, okay? Whatever you do is never good enough. You don't remember that? How often do I praise you? 5% of the time. That's what I remember. That's my ratio. 5%, maybe with weak ones I go to 10%. Okay? And so that's what happened. We're small, we're poor, we're broke, okay? And we're proud of it because no one can take it. The more of you, I can't afford it. Too many of you. Okay? And this is why those of you who've been around for a long time, you agree with me or not? Do I make you feel special? Rarely. Well, last year I started kissing you, but I didn't mean it. Okay? Not kissing you, blowing kisses. The point being that this is what makes me so proud of you, that you are working so hard, relentlessly, and trying to help others. And it's never enough. Let's face it. Okay? It's nonstop. Okay? Last week we finished the 6-page tract sutra. This week we're going to start Vimalakirti Sutra. You know what happens to the Dharma masters who lecture sutras? They take at least 3 months to prepare for a sutra thoroughly. Okay? And if we take a break for 3 months, I could see myself going to Europe for 3 months preparing for sutras. And I would advertise on the internet, Master looking for a place in like preferably a nice country in Europe, Western Europe, no Eastern Europe, okay? No Russia, okay? And places like that, where Master needs a nice place where he can have some serenity and tranquility to prepare a very important lecture. No, okay? It busts our butts, but you've been working so hard preparing for me, preparing materials for me, and therefore I pick it up and work. That's all. We work so hard, okay? And you've been working so hard. And how often do I praise you? I praise you by saying that whatever you do is still not good enough. Whereas my generation, okay, when I was a novice there, we walked around feeling we're superior, feeling we're better, and it's a fact. We are superior, we're better. But that's a wrong side of the equation to look at. We should not look at ourselves, look at the others. On the other side of the equation, the others who are suffering so much, who need help, who need protection. That's what Buddhas and Bodhisattvas do. They have this canopy so that they give us protection. Who's protecting them out there? Huh? Do we have time to think how special we are and we're better than the next person? No, it's no time even to think like that. We're so busy cutting grass. We're so busy. What else do you do? What else do you do? Okay? You see, we're so swamped. And what I like about you, your attitude is that you don't think highly of yourself. Your attitude is, what more can I do? And those who think they're special don't survive very long. We acquire skills, we get better, we work harder so that we can do more to help others. Why? Because if we didn't, who would? Everyone out there is only for themselves. They only think of themselves. That's the American way. That's what not American about our Mahayana. It's not for ourselves. I scold you, I yell at you, I complain, okay? To make sure that you don't ever feel you're special. Unless you're weak. Then I make you feel special. It's because you have to understand people like Master YongHua, who has no support, and coming to America where everyone feels special, he needs to adapt to the culture, okay? And I looked at the results of that. The results that is a bunch of weaklings who cannot handle hardship, who cannot handle, who do not dare look at their own inadequacies, their own stupidity. What good are you? For yourselves, for your family, for your bosses. This is the sickness of the modern times. Everyone is out for themselves. And that's how we're destroying the world and leave nothing for our children, our nephews. Someone has got to make a change. We have to. So, for a long time, I patiently waited for those of you who are still around to begin to see the light. I'm not forcing it on you. I'm not forcing it down your throat. But I'm hoping those of you who feel you're special and you're better than me and better than anyone around you, I'm very patient. I'm hoping that someday you wake up and snap out of it. You don't? When you leave, I don't feel anything. If you are such people, you replace this like this because we have plenty of real people, good people, who understands our values. Okay? Anyone has any other questions? So if that say you're stupid, okay, because you just don't get what I've been teaching you all these years, what can you do? The one thing you don't want to do, if you want to cultivate, is what? Our environment. Yes, go first.
Is that create offenses?
You have to look at yourself. Looking at yourself is a very difficult thing to do. You look at yourself. When I love it when I hear people say, I'm so manipulative. I'm so selfish. I say, wow, you dare look at your ugliness. Okay, doesn't matter how often you go to the beauty salon and have your pedicure. You're still ugly inside. Wow, what a beautiful thing to say, that you're so ugly inside. And watch out. Basically, you're telling people, watch out, I'm not what I appear to be. Okay? That is strength, people. You dare look at things that are so difficult that the average person, ordinary person, do not dare look at. Is your ugliness, your ickiness. How icky you really are. When you do that, okay, there's one thing, that's what we teach you. 回光返照. Return the light and illuminate yourself. That's what we do. Okay? Look at yourself. Don't look at others. Don't bitch and moan and complain about others. Look at yourself. Okay? And be happy that others criticize you. Okay? And say bad things about you. That's wonderful. Because it forces you to look at yourself. Is it true or not? If it's not true, then I can ignore it. If it's true, then I better fix it. You become grateful instead of becoming resentful when people criticize you. Only the weak become resentful. Only the stupid will try to cover up. Then it's hopeless for you. No one can help you if you deny it. You're not true to yourself. Buddhas cannot help you. Don't blame it on me. Even Buddhas can't help you if you're untrue to yourself. You pretend, you manipulate, you get away with things like the politicians, like the famous people. That's baloney. You're only hurting yourself. You're only fooling yourself. You're becoming more stupid. That's all you're doing. Yes, you can fool me temporarily, but I catch up a lot faster than you think. Because when you are fooling me, you have inconsistencies. I remember. And I don't forgive. I warn you already. I don't forget. I don't forgive. I don't forget. Okay? So, you have to be true to yourself. This is your life. Yes, go for it.
Amitofuo Master, so when we look at our faults, what do we have to do with them? Like try to understand why are we like that, or
Are you back from Spain already?
Yeah, right.
What is it? What happened to the delegation, European delegation?
They are in Lisbon right now, in Portugal.
So you only take care of your own kind?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
I just proved to you right there. He spent money going back to Spain, coming back, I still abuse him. It's never enough. Get it straight. So what's your stupid question again?
Yeah, so what should we do when we look at our faults? What should we do with them? Like try to understand why are we like that, or meditate?
You fix it. It's a sickness. If you lie, stop lying. You manipulate, stop manipulating. You're resentful, stop resenting. It's that simple. Because you're planting the wrong causes. Does it help?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that simple. You look, it's cause and effect. That's where stupid people refuse to admit, to see it. If you cover up, you're stupid. That's all you're doing. You increase your stupidity because you're stupid already, and covering on top of it makes you even more stupid, another layer of stupidity. You are this stupid old right now, and you cover up, then you're even more stupid than before. The next time you cover up, then you're even more stupid. That's what happens to you constantly. Because ultimately, you have to face yourself. Don't be like Mr. Buffet, who says, when I die, I judge the success of my life in how many people who love me surround me. Oh my God, I love him so much, you know. I would love to surround him when he dies so that he leaves me some money. No. You have to like yourself. Who cares if people don't like you? And that's a problem with the monks, like Master YongHua and the Korean monks who try to teach people new dharmas. And it's, you know, because, for example, Master YongHua's Dharma is new to the U.S. Very different from a Chinese Dharma, Vietnamese Dharma, Taiwanese Dharma, you name it. And therefore, he needed the support. And therefore, these people, there's not that many of them. So the first thing you're afraid of is that they will leave. Okay? Yeah?
Master, I apologize for making it more complicated. And
Yeah,
it's not about the sutra lecture, so, but I will ask since we were addressing this right now. So, from what I observed, it doesn't seem to be that simple for someone who's manic. That how does a manic person know that they're looking at themselves, or they're just being manic?
And that's a special case. When you deal with such situations where you are we label you to be, let's say, have depression or manic, this is when, it's a good question, this is when you need to remember this, okay? The nature of the depression and manic issues is that they plant thoughts in you, and you cannot tell whether it's the ghost thoughts or your own thoughts. You cannot tell. Okay, it's loaded into your RAM, so it's right there. It's your brains. So you do things, you assume it's your, but actually it's not. So therefore, in such cases, if you have been labeled as manic, as depressed, then you need to remember to trust us more than you trust yourself. Trusting doesn't mean, yes, I follow you and I believe you and you do what you're told. Trusting meaning that when the chips are down, do you trust your own thinking, your own logic, or you trust my instruction? That's all. And the reason I say is because for the last 18 years, going on 19 years now, that's what I saw all sorts of people. And the difference of those who left compared to you stick around is because you trusted my instructions. They don't. There's nothing I can do. I am so experienced because I have so much experience because I have to deal with myself. I'm very crazy, even in case you haven't noticed. Okay? I'm not normal. So it's not my fault. I'm this way. Okay? It's my dad, Master YongHua, who made me this way. Okay? See? So I went through so much of it myself. Okay, I've seen so many of you, I helped so many of you that I'm so experienced in doing this. And that's why today, I talked to you about the canopy, The fact is that those who went outside the canopy are not doing well. They only trust themselves. Okay? And if you only trust yourself, then you cannot tell whether it's your logic or someone else's logic. Whether it's your wisdom or you simply are being pulled. Your strings are being pulled. You cannot tell. I'm not above it, by the way. I get manipulated too. But it's very hard to manipulate me. If they want to manipulate me, it's very much harder than they're manipulating you. So I can see how you're being manipulated much easier than I can see myself being manipulated by my ghosts. That's a fact. It's very hard to manipulate me. And if you manipulate me, it doesn't last because I catch it very fast. Whereas you get manipulated, you can't not even tell. And you even, especially the stupid ones, I tell them, and they argue with me. Okay? Yeah. Yes. Is there a question? Yes, 6.
Emitofuo, Master. It's not a question. I just wanted to share that since I started coming and listening to you, I noticed that I'm mentally sick and my body and my mind. And when I hear about the manic people, I know that I'm manic. When I hear about depression, I know that
No.
when I hear all those things, I just notice that I'm all of them. I don't know.
Well,
Whenever Venerable was speaking about manic, not that I feel that I'm manic, or depressed, I feel that I'm depressed. And the more that I come and listen to you, I just know that I'm sick, mental sick, and my body and my mind as well.
but you're still special.
Well, I'm not special. I'm just trying to be normal sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Very good. You see, it's very hard to talk about it. You know, when I first started, you know that when I first started, I told the loser who left recently, I told him, I said, you are bipolar. You're so manic. You're so depressed. You know, this much of pills every single day. Okay. When I said that, okay, the dad was so upset at me. He was so angry. He said, how dare you embarrass my son? It's a very hard thing to do, to even admit it, let alone look at yourself. You see? First you have to admit it, and then then it gives you an opportunity to look closely on how they manipulate you.
Another thing that I noticed since I was 18 years old, I'm always talking to people in my head. I talked to my dad and I told him that I needed help, but he just laughed because he didn't believe me.
Yeah, I know. It's a lot of pain and suffering. I know. I went through that myself. This is so depressing.
But now that I'm with you, I feel safe, and every time I notice myself like talking to different people, it's like I try to just not listen to them or stop talking to them. It's like so many people talking to each other.
Yes. You see, the sad fact is that we're all struggling, okay, here at the temple, okay? And the difference is that when you're under this canopy, it's more manageable. You can see clearer, that's all. That's the only difference. If you see clearer, then you have a chance. If you cannot tell, and you disguise it, and you pretend, and you deny, then there's not much hope for you. We respect your privacy. I will be the last one to tell you stop pretending or you're faking it or whatever. I never used that for the last 18 years. Why not? Because I know that you prize your privacy. You don't want me to go in there. Okay? So I don't go there. It's your life. We speak Dharma for you. You think it makes sense for you, then try to use it. If it doesn't make sense, it's okay too.
Thank you, Master. I'm just grateful to be here and just to be able to speak to you and the Sangha.
Okay.
And for me, it's really hard to open up because I just feel that my whole family,
They think you're crazy and they don't take you seriously. It's a lot more suffering than people realize. You know that? You're not the only one. Most people who have the bipolar disorder, they are suffering so much. We're talking about celebrities, presidents or ex-presidents. That guy is very, very bipolar. He's crazy. Okay? There's so many people in the world that are considered to be successful, okay? My whole family is bipolar. They're all crazy. We're all crazy. Okay? So it's a lot of suffering. And you know, the little break you have coming will help you see clearer. And next time you come, you see even a little bit clearer and clearer and clearer. That's what we do. Okay? That's all.
Thank you so much, Master.
Okay, hang in there. Don't quit. That's all. Yes, 9.
So, Master, there's a comment from YouTube. It's Brady. My heart is sad that so many of you Buddhist followers are depressed. And morally followed up, is that because life is suffering? First noble truth?
Yeah, it's a combination of things. But the point here is that you can look at it from the bad side. For me, I don't look at it that way. I look at you, I don't see crazy people. I know you're crazy, but I look at you and I see hope. I see who you can really be if you really know, if you're willing to learn how to take care of yourself. Okay, you know, the reason that I'm proud of the fact that all these years, the reason many of you stuck around is because many of you are able to overcome your mental afflictions. And then you decided actually that you are strong enough to help those, help others who suffered like you. So we're proud of that. So that's what I meant by looking at the other side. Okay? The other side meaning that these mental afflictions actually are opportunities for you to improve and rise above it. Because we all are capable of doing that. If only that we're shown the way. That's all. Okay? The nature of the bipolar disorder is confusion, subterfuge. They confuse you. That's all they do. Don't blame it on whatever. The reason, the nature of society is confusion. Okay? So that's why look around. You see that a lot more people are afflicted by this, but they don't know what to do. Taking medication is not the way. Meditating, using mindfulness meditation is not the way. It will not fix it. Only Chan can fix it. That's all I know. That's what you've been experiencing. Okay? If only you're able to see how they manipulate you, then you have a chance. So I'm very optimistic because I've seen so many of you rise above it, and then are able to turn around and help others low level than you. Okay, that's what happened. That doesn't pay, you know. But it's not about money, it's not about fame. It's about compassion and kindness, you know, because it doesn't matter how much money you have, how famous you are, the suffering is so unbearable. There's no help for them. Nothing can help them except drinking, smoking, drugs. Distractions, that's all they do. They distract themselves. They can't fix the problems. Yes, go first.
Dạ, thưa Thầy, trong bài giảng lần trước, Thầy có nói là nếu như mà mình chưa thật sự đau khổ thì mình sẽ không có thay đổi bản thân để mà tu tập. Thì hiện tại con thấy bản thân con đi chùa vì thấy bạn của mình tốt nên mình muốn giống như bạn của mình. Thì con không biết làm thế nào để thay đổi cái tư tưởng của con để mà mình thật sự muốn tiến bộ trong con đường tu.
Master, so a couple of lectures ago, you talked about if you really wanted to, if you does not actually, is not suffering, you will not change. So me, myself, I go to the temple because I see that my friend become better. So I wanted to be alike, but I don't know how to change my way of thinking, my thought, in order to make progress in myself.
Yes, good question. There's many aspects of it to it. When you say that you want to improve, that means you're suffering already. Okay? For example, Jung's idol, okay, I think it's Elon, I think. he's a Elon fan, I think. Speak for yourself, yeah? Just agree, that's a nod your head, yeah, there you go. Like his idol, Jung's idol, he doesn't see himself as suffering at all. Okay? If you don't see yourself suffering, you're not going to change. And in contrast, okay, suffering has degrees of suffering. Okay? The core suffering is like someone cuts off your finger, you know. Yakuza. The clear suffering there, it's unbearable, okay? But each person is different. If, going back to her case, if she's not suffering, why would she want to be better? Okay, meaning that she's suffering because she sees someone else improving and becoming better, and that she's not. That's a suffering right there, isn't it? And that's what drives you. That's why, because it doesn't make sense to you. I watch you, I say, what are you doing here? until you started talking about, well, I'm this, I'm that, and and this is wrong, this is the way, I don't like myself, I could be better, and so forth. That is suffering right there. Okay? It may not be the same as Yakuza suffering, where you cut off your pinky. Okay, you have to cut off your pinky because you made a mistake. Okay, we're not at that level yet, but someday we will. So suffering has many degrees, very much like rebirth. The Pure Line has 81 grades. So suffering has at least 81,000 grades. Okay, so that's why each person is different. Okay, all that matters is that as long as you have some discontent in your mind and you say things could be better, then we can help you. That's my tip to you. Don't try to help like Jung's boss, Elon God. Okay? He would not listen to you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He laughs at you. Okay? He says, I'm the richest guy. I'm the third richest guy in the world now. So how much do you have? Okay? What have you accomplished? Okay? The point here is that when people tell you that the guy next to Jung, for example, he says, I'm happy, I'm not suffering. What are you talking about? This is when you back off. You say, I'm not touching you with a 10-foot pole, okay, until you see your suffering, okay? But the reason it kept on coming is because he won't admit it to you. He's suffering. He's unhappy about something. That is suffering. Okay? If you have that, okay, I know that's what drives you to keep on coming to the temple, because something that makes you dissatisfied. Let's not use the word suffering, okay, because suffering is Asian. Dissatisfied is American. Okay? When when we are dissatisfied, we're unhappy, and life is so bad for us, Americans, because we're weak. Okay? Suffering is not American. We're just dissatisfied. If you're dissatisfied and you want things to improve, then that's your drive to cultivate, to do something about it. That's the difference. Just because you know there's a problem doesn't mean there's a solution for it. Okay? For most people, they don't even dare look at their own problems. So I'm impressed that many of you would dare look at yourselves and say, you know, I'm not honest. I'm only trying to impress others. I'm trying to get attention and so forth. Okay? That's looking at yourself. Okay, and the process is that's a requirement. You're willing to look, you're interested in looking at yourself, becoming a better person. You stick to the program. You go to morning ceremony, evening ceremony, whatever. You meditate as per the recommendation. Meditate an hour a day. Okay, and so forth. There are plenty of things for you. As long as you don't quit, you will improve. All of you will improve. Let me tell you, I have a disciple of mine who's been following me since Lu Mountain Temple. And you know what she does? She goes to the temple on Sundays only. Why? Because her dad appeared in her dream and said, you better go to the temple. That's why she goes to the temple. That's it. And some days when she's lazy, the dad will say, go to the temple. So she got up in the car and drove to the temple. That's all she knows. And she followed, so Sunday morning, she followed the morning Dharma assembly. And then since her day off on Sundays, she would listen to the lecture. And she listened, but you know, it's we talk about enlightenment. Say, give me a break. Enlightenment, come on. Okay? And when we were under great turmoil at Lu Mountain Temple, and people were leaving left and right, she kept on coming every single Sunday. Why? Because her dad said, go to the temple. Very simple, okay? And you know what? I'm so proud. 2 weeks, you know, about 10 days, 2 weeks ago, about last month, I came back. I look at her and say, wow, you are a 4A. I was so proud. I said, wow. It's very simple. You keep going, and naturally, before you know it, it just happens. Okay? And this is the Chan Dharma, this is the Mahayana that the patriarchs have always transmitted all these years in China. Okay? Just follow the schedule and try your best to follow the schedule. Do as much as you can. Live your normal life. You don't have to shave your head, by the way. Okay? So you're the second person today I told not to shave your head. Okay? Just live a normal life and you see. Okay? So the short answer, don't quit. You naturally improve. Your concentration is improved already, no? You have better concentration than before. There you go. And you're better than before. You feel better than before. What else you want? It's free. I mean, you can't expect more. When I start charging you, then you can start making demands. Yeah? Okay? All right. Can we learn something, or you want to gab? Okay. Let's go and learn some real Dharma for a change, okay? Yes. E19. That was the 4 agamas and so forth. During the second period, based on the everywhere calculated, it was stated that all dharmas are empty of a nature of their own, which countered the small vehicle.
即四阿含等是第20中，虽依篇记所执，而说诸法自性皆空，翻比小乘。
Okay, commentary. This, as a reminder, this is a prologue. It's okay. We only get bits and pieces. It doesn't matter. Okay. We talk about anything we feel like. So if we want to talk about prologue, we talk about prologue. Don't try to understand everything. It doesn't matter. Okay. So the context is that he's talking about the Indian Buddhism. So it's kind of fun to have a glimpse of what they were, how they were trained, what they felt was important to the Indians, that Indians should be practicing. And so it's kind of interesting to me personally, because it gives me a glimpse on how the challenges that the Buddhas had to face back then and to teach the Indians. And I saw how, the Chinese Dharma I studied, and now the challenge for us is how to help the unhelpable Americans. Okay? And so that's why, but all these dharmas are very insightful. These are these principles that will help us open our wisdom. Okay? This is prajna wisdom, literary wisdom that we're sharing with you. Okay, so the commentary slide here for today, there's 3 concepts here I'd like you to memorize, to remember. Okay, it's about the 3 natures. Okay, they can, Master Jing Liang and Master Xue Huang like to talk about these things from a scholarly view. I'm more interested in helping you see what's really happening inside your brains, what really how your mind functions. Okay, so here's the nature of the functioning of the mind. You have to be careful. That's called the 3 natures. Okay, first is the nature everywhere calculated, attached to. Okay, memorize it. Okay, you can memorize it in Chinese, in Vietnamese, in English, in Korean. It doesn't matter. Just memorize it. Okay. Then another one, number 2, is second nature is nature that arises dependent on something else. Okay. This is how your mind functions. Let me tell you. And finally, number 3, the perfectly accomplished real nature. This is for enlightened people. Okay, so the nature of your confusion in your mind is 1 and 2. And when you're free from your confusion, this is what is called the real nature. You're able to see. This is why in Chan we talk about seeing the nature. When you cannot see your nature because you're stuck on 1 and 2. Is that clear? Okay? Yeah, go ahead, go first.
Is the first one, that nature of mind, is our natural delusion, like us mistaking the rope for a snake?
I'm glad you asked. Yes.
Okay.
That's what it says here, 821. Okay? This nature, everywhere calculated and attached to. What does it do? Okay? This is much shorter explanation and much simpler explanation. Let me simplify it for you. This is how we function. Everywhere calculated, meaning we're always calculating, especially the more educated you are, the faster you are at making calculations. Yes or no? Yeah? As contrast to where I came from, peasants, okay? The peasants are not trained to think. Therefore, when they look at things, everywhere calculated means that wherever you look, wherever you look, okay, you're calculating immediately. That's the meaning of the term. Everywhere calculated, meaning that everywhere you look, everywhere you hear, everywhere you smell, okay, all your sensory organs, wherever whatever that is loads into your brains, you're calculating immediately. And not only do you calculate, you create attachments. So in other words, your nature, okay, is that your sense organs, okay, brings in data to you, and you're calculating constantly, and you're forming attachments constantly. That's a nature of confusion. And we modern day people are so proud of it. I'm so proud to tell you, when I prepare my sutras, I have 3 screens, 9 windows. I'm going between 9 windows. Okay? That's an example of nature everywhere calculated and attached to. See that? We're so proud of it. We're so proud that what we call we're so proud we're able to multitask. And it's not so much about calculating and attaching to. These are 2 very severe drains of our energy. Everywhere calculating, okay? We're constantly calculating. Not only are we calculating, we are attached to, meaning we really get afflicted. We are always thinking, calculating, processing, and then we become afflicted. We become greedy, become angry, become stupid. That's what's happening to ordinary people. Okay? Try to tell them this is who they are. Try to tell your wife who follows a Tibetan monk. Say, you are everywhere calculated and attached to. He say, what are you talking about? I am Buddhist. See, precisely. You are attached to being calculating being Buddhist and attached to being a Buddhist. Is that clear? Second nature, an illustration, Master YongHua says. What is its nature? He says, you walk at night, you see a rope, you think it's a snake. And he went on and on, these people went on and on about, it's a snake, it's a hemp, it's not. So it's baloney, it doesn't matter. Okay? We are constantly processing. Okay? We hear some sound, say, oh, that's classical music. Oh, that's psychoanalytic sound. Okay? We're always processing. And then what happens to us is that we are constantly processing because we don't want to miss anything, right? That's right for Xian Tong there. She says, I don't want to miss anything. That's why, she was downstairs preparing lunch for tomorrow, and she said, I don't want to miss Master YongHua's Dharma talk, so she dressed up and went up here. You see, everywhere calculating and attached to. you see that, you can see that in you, or you can see it in others, you become more open-minded. This is why you're so drained every day. Okay? This is why you age so fast, because you keep on using up your battery and recharging and charging it up and using it up, exhausting it, cycling through your battery. Okay? All right? So that's what it is. We are constantly calculating, processing, and forming attachments. And that is confusion. Okay? Next nature, second nature, okay, is a nature depending on something else. Okay? Now, a little bit more advanced. Before, it's like me, peasant. Okay? We are helpless. Okay? Better, next level. You realize that there's a nature depending on something else, meaning that there's a logic behind it. The mind is more logical. The first nature doesn't have to be logical. It just grabs at everything, okay? And likes and dislikes. I like this, I like that, I like this, I like that. I'm so special, I'm better than you, and so forth, okay? That's number one. Number two is that now it uses logic to justify itself, okay? 依他起性 is that something, the nature that arises knowing that it depends on something else. Now there's hope for you. Because if yours is a nature that everywhere calculated and attached to, it's not much hope for you. Number two is like the two ladies who raised their hands today. They are that type where they are dependent on something else. They realize that they are depending on some help. There's hope for you. They see that there is a change. The good things happen. Okay? There is cause and effect. If anyone who insists on being everywhere calculating and attached to, that person is totally confused. Hands off. Don't touch them. There's not much we can do. And that's the same people who say, I'm successful, I'm happy, I have a lot of fanboys. Okay? Those are the ones that nature number one. Everywhere calculated and attached to. Number two, people who listen to reason. They're logical. That is hope. Okay? You see, if you read, if you bothered reading all these fancy explanations from Master YongHua and Master Qingliang, you see that, this is how they elaborate for you. And that's why when I first read it, I couldn't understand anything. Yes?
Master, the nature here is referring to a person's nature, meaning the personalities?
Your mind.
Characters?
Your mind.
The nature of the mind?
Yes. That's how you think, how your mind functions. It's fascinating. This is why the Buddha chose to use the word nature, and the Bodhisattva chose the word nature. Okay? And I simplify it for you. I say, this is not nature. This is how your mind functions. The Buddhists have this habit of, especially the Chinese, of choosing to explain things in an elegant and polished way. Okay? And that's why it's somewhat confusing to their own kind, where if you don't explain it in modern day terms, they would turn their back on these words of wisdom, these teachings of wisdom. I'm honest with you, I struggle with these three concepts, the three natures. But actually, you don't have to. It is very clear. Okay? This is when you look at yourself as well, you look at others. I said, is this nature 1 or nature 2? When I talk to you, okay? When you ask me a question and I start talking to you, when your interaction with me tells me, are you still dwelling on 1? Are you now moving to 2 or 3? This is very useful information. You say, oh, if you're 1, now I back off. You're 2, then it's okay to engage. You understand? This is so practical, folks. It's not theory, okay? If they're so always calculating, trying to manipulate you, and they have an attachment like crazy, you back off. You don't waste your strength. They're not going to listen to you. So back off, okay? But if they buy into, yes, it's important for me to become a better person, I like myself better, and then now we talk about reasoning, some logic here, cause and effect. Cause and effect is basically the simplest logic. The most fundamental logic is cause and effect. It's a direct relationship. Then is hope. It's so important. Yes, there's so many questions. I don't think I have time, so let's not take any questions. Yes, 5.
Master, is this related to like the mind, how it likes something? Like I like gelato, so it'd be that's the mind likes it, and then here's the gelato, or is that like a more of a material kind of thing?
It doesn't matter. If it says, if I like, then this is how we function. Everyone is a base of us is 1. When we're born, we're 1. We function, okay, as 1, nature 1. Until we learn, then we upgrade to level 2. Okay? It takes learning to be able to recognize. It takes being told, okay, of our mistakes before we had the chance to flip to nature 2, which is you realize that your confusion is because of this. Okay? You see, it's a lot more useful when I present it to you that way instead of a rope thing. The rope thing is nonsense to me. Okay? This is such profound Buddhist teachings, and yet they turn it into, some sort of pedantic discussion and fancy words. Yes, go first.
Hello, Master. Sorry, but I didn't quite understand the second nature, the way you explained it. Why is that? How is the 依他起性 to connect with the logic? And what kind of logic is
Cause and effect.
Talking about?
依他起性 is that I am angry because that's 依他起性. 起性. Okay? I am angry because you just yelled at me. I like alcohol because it makes me feel good.
Okay, so that's how the mind operates for those.
That's right. That's right. it will not, the mind or ordinary people, they use mind number 2, but they will not dare look at the cause. Yes, go first.
Second nature is the proper understanding of causes and conditions.
No, the nature, if you understand the second nature, is that who you are today, because there's a cause associated with it. If you're not happy with this, then you cut off this cause. Then you fix that problem. Okay? And that's fundamental logic. A implies B. You don't want B, you cut off A. Yes, JMT. You see, I twisted the principle into how your mind functions to help you understand why the Buddha taught the 3 natures. Go ahead, JMT.
질문 아니고 위타기성에 대한 코멘트인데 제가 이해하고 있는 거는 어느 정도 이제 위타기성이 되려면 자기 객관화, 자기 통찰이 되어야지만 되기 때문에 마스터께서 조금 희망이 있다고 말씀하신 것 같아요.
We can do it when we look ourselves in a distance. Then
Insight.
it's possible to have self-contemplation.
그러니까 제가 처음에 이거 지금 배우고 있는 거를 개념을 배웠던 게 조계종에서 유식학을 할 때 들었었는데 일단 결국에는 1번 첫 번째 말씀하셨던 거는 그냥 아예 너무나 자동적으로 이렇게 들러붙어 있기 때문에 이제 어떻게 뗄 수가 없는 거고 위타기성 정도가 돼야 자기 객관화가 돼서 내가 왜 화가 나는지 내가 왜 기분이 좋은지 이 정도 인과관계 나의 상태에 대한 인과관계를 파악하고 있기 때문에 위타기성이라고 말씀하신 게 아닌가 이렇게 코멘트를 왔습니다.
There you go. I begin to recognize some Korean words.
I first learned this concept in the conscious only class in Joge order.
Yeah.
And then the first thing, we cannot help it, but the second thing, we can recognize the cause and effect. Then we can do something.
That's right. That's correct. That's how I present it to you. Okay? Not the way that the Master Jing Liang, Master YongHua presented to you. It's too abstract for me. Okay? For me, the reason nature number 2, that's nature that depends on something else to arise, the mind that depends on something to arise, that's exactly cause and effect. You angry today is because something triggered it. Look at that. Don't look away. Okay? If you're greedy, it's because something made you greedy. Look at it. Don't look away. Don't deny. Okay? Because ordinary people, when you say, you angry. I'm not angry. Then, what nature are we talking about? Which one? 1, 2, 3. 1, right? So what does it mean? Back off. Number 2, I'm angry. Oh, really? Does it show? Okay. And so forth. Now you can talk about reason. You can reason on that person. There's a chance. There's hope. Okay? It simplifies our lives, folks. We cannot help everyone. Buddhists can't help everyone. Buddhists cannot help nature 1. They don't listen. Nothing we can do. Yes, JMT.
지금 이렇게 변계집성 상태에 있는 사람을 도와야 될 수밖에 없을 때, 뭐 마스터 인스트럭션이라든지 그럴 때는 일단 그 사람이 그냥 보기 싫도록 하고 인내를 수행해야 되는 걸까요? 그러니까 만약에 마스터 틀린 들리세요? 네, 그러니까 만약에 1번 상태인 어떤 사람을 마스터 인스트럭션으로 도와야 했을 때 할 수 있는 거는 그러면 그 사람이 복을 심을 수 있게 하고 저는 인내를 수행하는 것밖에 할 수 있는 게 없는 건지 그게 질문이에요.
For example, a master instructed me to help someone in someone of the first case. Then should I just help them to plant blessing and practice patience? Is that all that I can do?
Example, another example of nature number 2. Okay? You have a long history of examples already. Number 2, when we tell you to cross your legs, we tell you to meditate 1 hour a day. We tell you to recite mantras. Okay? When you're feeling down, recite a mantra. Recite Buddha's name. Okay? Those are the instructions that when you follow the instructions, then you see the change in you. That is nature dependent on something else. And this is our database. There's so many of you now. Well, you follow the instructions already at various levels, and you saw the corresponding effects. That's why what is that called? Wisdom. The wisdom is unfolding. Just because we understand how you function, that's why when you have wisdoms like the Bodhisattvas and the Buddhas, they then tell us, that you should do this so that you can develop your understanding. That's why the instructions on how to do it matter. It's so critical for you to receive the proper instructions and follow the instructions. That's how you develop your wisdom. That's how you end your suffering. That's how you get what you want. That's based on the Buddhist teaching of the nature depending on something else. That's the effect. Got it? Isn't that beautiful? And you feel free to go back to these 4 or 5 slides. It's all talk about rope and so forth. And to me, I don't get it. Why would you bother talking about rope when so many more important things we need to worry about? Like our afflictions, why we're so unhappy. Or how we get what we want. Okay? So far, so good? Okay, and finally, the third one is a nature that is perfectly accomplished in real nature. That's when you become enlightened. Okay, so what happened is that lowest tier, we can't touch them. We just say, "I'm buddy." Okay, we here. Okay, and you have a bottle of water, have some rice, have some lunch, and that's it. That's all we can do. You plant the seeds with them. Second nature, depending on something else to arise. This is when you're able to teach them, give them instructions, and help them, and they can see for themselves. Okay, there is a connection. Okay, and you do it naturally. What happens is that when you do number 2, you follow the instruction more and do it better and better and better, naturally you attain the perfectly accomplished real nature. You see your Buddha nature. That's ultimately the big prize is this. Your real treasure is this, where you we know true happiness. What is true happiness? I don't know, you still remember the first time you enter first dhyana? Okay, you feel so free. And the second dhyana, you feel more free, and so forth. Okay, it's a wonderful experience you never experienced before. Similarly, when you get up there, okay, because it gets better and better and better and better. I promise you, this is the truth. If you follow your second nature, okay, it gets better and better and better. Eventually, you get to the big prize, which is your real Buddha nature. Okay, where it is wonderful. Life is so much fun, so special, that you can look at losers and say, "Wah!" Okay, okay? Okay, and can I finish this? And 388, 25. And so we talk about three natures, and then if you have three natures, there's also three non-natures, which is the exact opposite. Okay, and ultimately, it's about understanding of emptiness. Emptiness means that you attach to nothing, including knowledge of natures. Okay? First, you learn about the concepts of nature, you find it cool, and you get excited and work towards it. But eventually, when you get up there, in order for you to accomplish the perfectly accomplished real nature, that mind there, you have to drop all your knowledge. Okay? And this is what the Buddha did when he was alive. He taught his disciples, he guided his disciples through his personal training to get there. Okay? That's it for today. Next time we start from 8:26. Thank you, everyone.